Ed Gillespie, Republican strategist, been a few of those battles over the years. Former counselor to a good man, George W. Bush, our 43rd president, also led the Republican National Committee, is on with us on the Common Sense Club, and he's got here on the show. Nice to have you back, Ed. How you doing?
It's good to be back, Ken. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Family well and everything going well for you?
Yeah, not good. I just dropped my son off at the airport. He was home for spring break, so it was good to have some time with him and feeling very blessed these days. That's
fantastic. Well, did you watch the debate last night? What'd you think?
I did. I thought it was a great debate. I thought that, one of the things it showed is this notion that this primary and contested contest that we're having is hurting our party was proved false. The fact is that this is a contest that's developing some very good candidates and some very good debaters that'll serve us well come the fall when one of them goes up against Barack Obama.
I flipped around like a fish about that because initially thinking, man, these debates have us looking like a schoolyard sandbox battle here. But as you've noticed, these debaters get, the candidates, the debaters now down to the four, get better and better and better. Really, they're honing their game for the big prize come November, aren't they?
They are, and I was like you. I thought we may have had too much of a good thing there. We said 20th debate last night. It has gotten it's gotten down to four people. That helps a little bit, allows for candidates to have a little more time in their answers. But I was really impressed last night by all four of our potential nominees, the way they handled the questions, the way they handled the questioner, the substance of their responses. I was excited at the end of last night's debate.
The punditry seems to be suggesting that Romney got the better of Santorum, and that was, of course, the big battle with Michigan and Arizona looming, and Santorum struggling to keep that momentum that he's had from the three previous wins. Did you buy the conventional wisdom?
I think that Governor Romney had a good night last night, and I think that Rick Santorum, who's been very good in the debate, I wouldn't say he had a bad night, but I think the topics and the nature of the conversation is, his answers on the earmarks and No Child Left Behind. He has some tough questions and tough answers last night. So we'll see. I mean, the voters will internalize all that. But I think in this case, I don't always agree with conventional wisdom, but I expect conventional wisdom is probably right in this regard.
It seems to me that what I've really detected, and I'm struggling like I think a lot of conservatives are, that whether or not Mitt Romney deserves this, whether or not we can trust him. He seems to be sort of the composite candidate, says the right things, put a lot of the right pieces of the puzzle together, obviously running a pretty darn good campaign, but just can't seal the deal. And I feel the exact same way that I think the conservative bloc right now trying to kind of test these candidates does as well. Had a chance to spend some time with Rick Santorum last week. He was in North Dakota, did 2 stops out here in North Dakota, and I saw people just absolutely energized, unlike anything I've ever seen. I don't see that kind of passion for Mitt Romney, and that worries me a little bit, that it's best that we kind of keep this thing going to make sure whoever that nominee is ultimately a person that can invoke that passion, which will need to defeat Barack Obama. You agree or disagree with that assessment?
Well, it's funny, Scott, and we are very much alike in a lot of ways, and I relate entirely to what you just said. And I'm an ethnic Catholic from the Northeast, a blue collar background, and I relate very readily to Rick Santorum. At the same time, as I listened to Mitt Romney talking about taxes, and last night talking about the assault on the Catholic Church with this HHS regulation, his record in Massachusetts, I find myself thinking, well, I agree with him, and he does have a record in a lot of these things. And one of the way I put it is, I like Governor Romney's lyrics. I just wish there was more music sometimes, in terms of being able to kind of get that same visceral feel that you get from Rick Santorum. So I think that's what a lot of Republicans are grappling with right now, and conservatives are grappling with. And I agree with you. I think the contest going on will allow us to come to terms and settle on a nominee that we can all get our heads and our hearts in the same place in some regards.
The people that share our faith, Ed, could single-handedly decide this race. I've for years scratched my head over the way Catholics vote in this country, given what we are taught, what we believe, what we subscribe to, and not only in those pews every Sunday, but just in the teachings of the church. Very clear. If you had to, and again, this is not meant to be anything other than factual, to say if you look at the policies of Barack Obama, contrast that with the teachings of our church, and then look at the policies of either, a Mitt Romney, a Rick Santorum, a Newt Gingrich, Newt and Rick happen to be Catholics as well, so they obviously understand the church's teachings a little bit. It is 90-10. It's there's no debate about which candidate you ought to support. You had a lot of Catholics waffle. Why?
Well, a lot of it is what I've characterized as the conventionalism, the contest between the life and marriage aspect of the faith and the social justice aspect of the faith. One of the most formative books I've ever read was Michael Novak's Spirit of Democratic Capitalism, and for me, social justice is embodied in free enterprise and market capitalism and democratic capitalism. But for others, they feel like it's embodied in more spending in federal programs and higher taxes and that kind of thing. And I think that's where you get this kind of whipsaw. And as you know, with the exception of President George W. Bush, who did not carry the Catholic vote in 2000, but also, pains me to say, I remember it well, didn't get the popular vote. No president since Kennedy in 1960 has been able to win the White House without getting a majority of Catholic voters. And I believe that Barack Obama's latest assault, this notion of, and I understand that not all Catholics practice what the Church's teachings are when it comes to contraception. No one's talking about banning contraception despite what the left says, but the notion that the Cardinal of Washington, D.C., Cardinal Wuerl, should have to administer and pay for through the Archdiocese of Washington, which self-insures not only contraceptives, but surgical sterilization and abortion, which is what RU-486 and the morning after pill is. It's an abortion pill. You don't have to go to a doctor's office for the abortion. You can do it pharmacologically. That doesn't make it less of an abortion. But the notion that the Obama administration would compel Cardinal Wuerl to not only pay for it, but administer it to the employees of the Archdiocese of Washington is abhorrent. And this assault on religious freedom, I do think, is going to result in a majority of Catholics opposing President Obama. And I think it will cost them 3 to 5 states.
Let's hope so. No question about it. I understand. Are you undertaking some sort of effort in that regard to make sure that the Catholic vote is informed on these issues?
I am talking to a number of people, Scott, about the need to make sure that Catholic voters and all voters are informed about it. Voters of who are Protestant and Jewish, Church of Latter-day Saints, and frankly agnostics and atheists. Because if you have any respect for religious freedom and the First Amendment, regardless of your religious belief or your irreligious belief, you should be offended and scared by the precedent that is being set here. And I'm hopeful that we can make sure that folks are aware of it and that they encourage their member of Congress to vote to stop this HHS regulation, because it's clear urging President Obama to not go forward with it is not going to work.